Jayante yadi bhutebhyo dehina pancha bhautikaha atma yade kalasteshu paripurna sanatanaha. If the bodies made of the five elements originate only from the physical elements, not from the self, the indweller, one in all of them, perfect and eternal, ka kanta tatra ka kanta sarva eva sahodara. Who is it that is the beloved wife there? Who is her husband? All are siblings. Nirmitayang grihavalyang tadavachinnatangatam nabhastasyam tu dadhayam nakinchit kshatim richati. The space partitioned by houses constructed in a row does not suffer any damage when the row of houses is consumed by fire. Tadvadatmapi deheshu paripurna sanatanaha hanyamaneshu teshveva sasvayang naiva hanyate. Similarly, the self residing in all bodies, itself perfect and eternal, is not at all destroyed when they are killed. Hanta chain manyate hantung, hatash chain manyate hatam, tavu bhavna vijanito, nayang hanti nahanyate. If one thinks that he is the killer or that he is killed, he does not understand. The self neither kills nor is killed. Asman ripadi dukhena kinkedas yasti karanam svasvarupam viditvedam dukkham tyaktva sukhi bhava. Therefore, O king, what could be the cause for such exceedingly painful depression? Knowing your own true nature and giving up this sorrow, be happy. Namaste. So Agastya is making a really good point here. And this is a great argument against the materialistic concept of the self. That if we are only these bodies made from the five elements, earth, water, fire, air, and space, then what is the point of having relationships like husband and wife? If there's no self, a transcendental being separate from the body, then we're all siblings, brothers and sisters. There can be no other higher relationships because, after all, we're just a bunch of bodies, just a bunch of animals running around. And actually, we see this is happening in the Kali Yuga. Materialistic people think, oh, we are only the body. The body is the self. There is nothing else, nothing beyond death. And then they run around and act just like animals. Isn't it? So this materialism is actually extremely dangerous because it deprives us not only of a spiritual life, but even of a sophisticated culture of human life in the material world. Things like marriage, the relationships between parents and children, the teacher and student relationships, mentoring, and so on. All of these are nothing if viewed in the materialistic perspective. And we can see what the result of that is. It's chaos. It's a complete breakdown of human society. And this is happening in Kali Yuga. Gradually, by the end of Kali Yuga, People will be like pygmies, only 3 feet tall, and running around and eating their own children and grandmothers and grandfathers and like that. It's just horrible. That's where it's going. So we should take advantage of the spiritual culture, the Vedic culture, the wisdom that is available to us now, and cultivate spiritual awareness and self-realization. Get out of this material world so that we don't have to suffer these terrible consequences. Then Agastya makes another analogy. He says, if you have a row of houses which is consumed by fire, the space occupied by those houses is not damaged even when the houses are destroyed. So similarly, the self that inhabits all bodies is not at all harmed when those bodies are killed. Doesn't that make sense? Because the self is pure consciousness. The self is one. It is the same in all bodies. And it continues to exist even after the death of the body. So it doesn't make any difference, really, whether the body exists or not. And actually, as we have analyzed so many times, the body doesn't really exist because it's impermanent. The period of time when the body exists is only up to 100 years. But, what about the billions of years before this body appeared and the billions of years that will happen after the body is dead? So the actual lifespan of the body is tiny, infinitesimal, compared to the actual span of time, existence of the universe. So in that way also, the material body can't really be said to exist. It's only an appearance. And the fact that we identify with it is due only to ignorance. Once we realize, oh, I am a spirit, I am Brahman, aham brahmasmi, all this ignorance goes away. And we realize, oh, I am the life of all that lives. I am everywhere the same. There is nothing that is not me. And although these temporary things like bodies appear and disappear, that does not change me at all. I am always the same, unborn, undying, changeless. This is the self. And to realize this self is the end of suffering, the end of misery, the end of fear, the end of ignorance. So if one thinks that he is the killer or he is killed, he doesn't understand. The self is neither the killer nor the killed. There's a very similar verse in Bhagavad Gita and also in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So we can understand this wisdom was well known in the ancient world. That's why Kshatriyas, for example, have no fear of being killed in battle. They go into the battle, even if they're vastly outnumbered, almost certain to be killed, knowing that when this body is finished, I will still exist. In fact, nothing will change at all, except the body is now gone. Then I can make another one or whatever I want. This is the mentality that allows a Kshatriya to go into battle fearlessly, even against fantastic odds, knowing that after the body is dead, he will still exist. In fact, he will be better off because the body contains so many flaws. There's so many problems with the body. This is going on. We see all over the world that even famous people, even rich people, powerful people have so many problems. In fact, you could make the argument that the richer and more powerful you are, the more problems you have, because everybody wants what you've got. So they're going to be after you. I've had my little 15 minutes of fame back around 2010. And I'll tell you what, it was extreme anxiety. There was always so much to worry about. Because, well, what happens if something goes wrong in here or there, or somebody takes a pot shot at me trying to get my fame or money or attention or whatever. There's always something going on. Somebody has always got a plot going. And that is the end of your peaceful life. So it's better to be poor and humble and unknown and just an ordinary person, just take care of business, take good care of yourself, but don't aspire for these great things like to be a film or TV star or, a billionaire or something like that. It's only going to bring you trouble. And actually, the more successful you are, the more trouble it's going to bring. So be careful of that. He winds up his argument by saying, considering all this about the nature of the self and so on, its relationship with the body, etc., there is no basis for unhappiness. None of us here are the body. We are all the soul. We're all the self. We're all spiritual. And the proof is we're alive. We're conscious. We're perceptive. We can see things. We can know things. We can do things. That proves that we are not the body because the body is inert. When you go into dreams at night, you forget all about the body. And what happens? The body just lies there. It doesn't do anything. Even though the presence of Kundalini keeps the body alive, breathing, and the heart beating and so on, even while we're asleep, still, nothing is going on. No one is doing any work or have any understanding or perception of the senses while they are in sleep. So this is the proof that we are not the body. We are something subtle, consciousness within the body, and that is our real identity. Om Tat Sat. Om Shakti Om. Om Namah Shivaya.